How are you guys doing?
We're well. This is like perhaps your third or fourth one of these professional gatherings
Okay.
or sessions.
Say again?
Is this your third or fourth one of
Third one.
the third one? So how have the other two gone? Like, what was the attendance like?
It's growing steadily with each one.
Awesome.
So this one, we're hoping that we get over 15 callers,
Nice.
at least. At
Yeah.
least we're hoping for.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
So people, I've never done one of these like this before. So can people see us right now?
Yes.
Oh, okay. But we would be notified when somebody is joined in because then we would see a picture of them.
Yes.
Got it.
Yes.
Same thing with phone calls? If people call in?
With phone calls, well, I've been on phone calls and well, for me, it's a listening thing rather than a visual thing.
Mm-hmm.
So for me doing this and being the host, I have to be seen.
Yep.
But on past calls, I've always been listening and not taking part really.
Mm-hmm.
So, but like I said, it's been growing with every session. And I think that with this particular session, because we've had 4 days to push it, when I checked social media, it seems as if, based on the responses, this is expected to be the biggest one so far.
Good.
Yeah. So the good thing is, well, I don't know why Nadine is logged out. She was on before.
It kicked everybody out at the start there, so maybe she's having the same problem. But when we logged back in, it was okay.
Yeah. Give me 1 sec. She's asking me for the login info, which she should have. I don't know why she got kicked out. So how was your weekend?
Great, great. Relaxing. Little bit of work, but it was pretty good. A little different than past years, as everybody's probably experiencing, but it's good overall.
Nice. Nice.
What about yours?
I found myself working for most of the time because I'm working on another project as well.
Nice.
So it was quite eventful.
Not much family time, I'm guessing?
Yeah. Always time for that.
Good.
Always time for that. But yeah, but it was a good relaxing time for the most part.
Nice.
Okay, so I'm seeing that more people are coming on. So we're gonna get started in a little bit.
Sure.
Just give me 2 seconds.
Hey, Charlie.
Oh my God! That's a nice surprise. I can't hear you.
We can't hear you.
He's on mute.
Jill's probably there.
Hi, Odeen. You look amazing. You as well, Lamont. You look awesome.
Thank you, Nadine.
How are you?
We're well. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you guys so much for doing this.
Odeen,
Thank you for having us.
whenever
Of
you
course.
smile, I feel like the whole light, the electricity, the
Oh
bulges.
my gosh, Charlie! How are you?
Best surprise ever.
That's the best surprise ever! Oh my
This is
God!
a wonderful surprise.
Well, how on earth did you?
Wonderful surprise. Are you in Charlie? Are you in Jamaica? Or are you here?
Yeah, no, I'm in Jamaica.
Oh my gosh! Wow, this is awesome! You look great.
So do you.
Thank you.
So do you, but you look all right too.
But you're high tech. How did you get into? You're high tech. You're high tech.
Hey,
Right?
listen, that's all I've been doing while I've been here, just trying to figure out these high-tech devices.
But look at what you're doing well. But you're doing well. You're online. You know how to do it. That's great.
I know.
Excellent.
Hi, guys.
Very good.
Hey. How are you?
Awesome. Missing you
Good.
guys,
So
though.
good to see you.
Yeah, as nice as it is, it's hard being away, like not being able to get to everyone when we want. But
Yeah.
Of course.
you know what?
Of course.
We're still more
Of course.
blessed than people who have been living like this for decades.
Exactly.
Yeah,
We're
of course. Yeah,
grateful.
still.
Yeah, we're grateful.
Very much so. Very much so. Yeah, this is great. Gavin, are you there?
I'm here. Okay.
Gavin, I see you're there.
Can we begin?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's just I hadn't seen my very good friend Charlie in such a long time. It was like a little family reunion.
It was.
I love that. That's the reason why I love doing these types of calls, because it is bringing people together.
Yeah.
People now get to communicate with, and building community from a distance. That's awesome. But to begin, my name is Gavin Skerritt. I will be the host for today's session. And on the line, we have Odeen and Lamont Wilshire. And just to give you a little bit of information about who they are, what they do. In 2009, Lamont was an avid investor, as well as the CEO and co-founder for a thriving luxury car dealership, which was a successful family-owned and operated establishment. 2009, Odeen, a recent graduate at the time from University of Toronto, she was involved professionally in acting and modeling. And then soon after the two young powerhouses met, they put everything together and they invested in each other. And they were able to start up a very successful business together called Wilshire Homes Canada Incorporated. So what began as a few small property rehabilitations soon grew into a full-fledged custom home building business. Today, Wilshire Homes Canada remodels and builds distinctive residences for customers all across the GTA. The mantra is, if you can dream it, we can build it. Okay? So we are really looking forward to hearing what these two powerhouses have to say. And please, after their own introduction, I'm going to ask both Odeen and Lamont to say a little bit more about themselves, maybe 5-10 minutes to talk about themselves a bit more. And then after that, I'm going to have them open up the floor and everyone can start asking questions. Who would like to go first?
Lamont, you want me to take the floor?
First, Odeen, of course. Go ahead.
Okay. So Gavin, thank you so much for that introduction. And thank you to Nadine and to Gavin and to the whole BBPA for inviting us today to talk about what has been our passion for many years, real estate, especially as it's been affected during this COVID-19 time. Gavin, you mentioned Wilshire Homes, which is definitely our first and prominent big sort of baby. But interestingly, right before COVID hit, we just launched our other business, which is We Realty. You can see the logo in the background of Lamont's screen there, Wilshire Eccleston Realty. And so that's been in the works for the past couple of years. And finally we launched, and then lo and behold, boom, we were hit with COVID-19. So I look forward to discussing how we've been able to navigate through these sort of muddy and unprecedented waters. But for now, I'll just quickly say that The BBPA has been a great supporter of ours for the past several years and a great resource. And again, real estate is our passion. And Lamont, you can take the floor.
Yeah, thanks, Odeen. And Gavin, thank you for the introduction. And Odeen, thank you for having us and be a part of this great discussion. Again, we're real estate people. We love real estate. Odeen and myself started back in the business 10, 11 years ago, really just with the love and passion to be a part of real estate. So we actually started building, and I should say really renovating homes. And it started from just doing what they call is a flip, just a quick buy and sell and put it on the market. And slowly but surely, we've kind of worked ourselves up into building custom homes. And now we've actually gotten to development. So as Odeen kind of spoke about the real estate side, I'll touch a little bit on the development side and the building side. And we've taken that, small business to from one home and one project a year to 15 to 20 to 25 different projects, all kind of concurrently. We've grown our team of just construction side and admin staff and stuff like that. And today we sit with a bit of a whole group, a real estate group, which consists of the Wilshire group as a whole at the top. And then we have our development arm that develops real estate. We also have, as Odeen said, the real estate brokerage arm that sells all of our real estate we develop. And we also have the arm that specifically does building and construction for custom homes, large-scale renovations, additions, and all that in between. So that's just a little bit about the company and about kind of what we've done and where we are. And we're very happy to be here and kind of talk about what we love to do. So if Gavin, you want to kind of move to the next, you're more than welcome.
And actually, so while Gavin is getting his questions together, I want to also thank you both very much for joining us on this call and sharing your story with the community. As we thought about the concept for this call, we really wanted to look at the impact of the real estate market specifically, and how it what COVID has done to impact the Black business community in terms of that. So my first question to you would be, how is this, and I know Odeen mentioned a little bit about that, here you are, you just launched We Realty, and boom, this pandemic happens. So what does that mean to you at the present moment in terms of your plans and most importantly in terms of your finances?
Well, Nadine, real estate, particularly construction and real estate brokerages, have been deemed essential. So at first, to be honest, it affected us very little. But then as they have continued to update the precautionary methods, now we've had to slow down every one of our sites in order to be just as safe as possible. They've mandated that only 5 people can be in any given project at a time. They've mandated that no new projects can start. So for example, we had quite a few in the pipeline to begin this spring, some new builds for clients and some new projects for ourselves. Those have all been put on hold, but we have been permitted to proceed with the completion of a lot of the projects that we have on the go, because the logic behind that, Nadine, is that housing is absolutely necessary, of course, and that the people that we're in the process of building their house, they need somewhere to live. And so some of them were weeks away from completion. So even though there's definitely a delay, we're happy that Doug Ford and his government is allowing us to wrap things up safely and effectively for them. On the brokerage side, we put a halt to a lot of the listings that we were looking forward to launching this spring, just because we put our clients first, and right now might not be the most advantageous time to put it on the market. So, it's changing day by day as new regulations and new updates are added. But thankfully, this business is very diverse, or I'm referring to the Wilshire Group. So in terms of how it's affecting us financially, it hasn't yet, and hopefully, knock on wood will not, because the way that we've sort of organized things. And Lamont, you can elaborate on that.
Yeah, so Dean, no, a bunch of the points that you said are absolutely correct. On the construction side, of course, we are deemed essential, and we did any new starts that we had ready to start. We can't start them, nor that we are. Some of the projects, we literally have clients that have move-out dates. They have scheduled dates that they have to move into their home for. So we've been digitally trying to figure that out. It's been a bit of a challenge just because, as you know, on a construction site, you can have 10, 15, 20 people in one construction site. And I'm talking like, say, a custom home of that nature. And we've had to limit that to actually 5 people, as Odeen said. So it's been an adjustment. Our timelines have actually changed on all of our projects, but we've been able to kind of navigate, kind of move with the curve of the whole COVID pandemic. And we've been kind of, I would say, succeeding so far. And thank God we have not had to lay off any staff. We are basically full tilt still. It's just all in finishing projects right now until some of these great precautions are lifted. We actually, prior to some of the government regulations and some of the government mandates, we limited our sites to 5 people prior to them even putting that mandate in. We had our signs up. We started to just, have guys stay home, or it's your choice to come in. So we put in a bunch of measures prior, so it wasn't too much of a adjustment. We've been trying to stay ahead of the curve on the construction and development side. And as Odeen said, the financial impact, again, it hasn't hit yet. Of course, a long extended tightening, may start to, but we haven't felt the effects yet. But we do have a lot of, this is for any business owner out there. There's a lot of back-end work that you tend to put on the back burner that you can totally just start to get to that stack of papers, or get to those leads that you may want to talk and follow up, or help building your back-end business, or spending some quality time with your family. So there's things to do where you can kind of keep going, keep rolling, and just mentally stay sane while we all get through this as a group.
Well, okay, so my first question to you guys, thank you so much for those answers, by the way. That's a lot of information. We do appreciate that. So again, my first question is, with all the changes that you've been able to make, as you said, just before and even after all these restrictions and regulations have been put into place, how is the development and construction going right now through the COVID situation?
Yeah, so I'll start with that one, Odeen. So just as Odeen has said, we are deemed essential, and the mandates actually call for residential development is still okay as long as it's been started prior to, I think, April 4th. So that means, like, if you had a permit or if you're in a project that you've started, you can finish it. New starts are not permitted, of course. So for us as a business, we had a fair amount of projects that we actually were kind of rushing to finish, just as doing your regular day-to-day business kind of life. So we did get to, we are still in the middle of those projects, and we still are pushing to finish. As I said, it's just the timelines have totally been adjusted. If you could imagine, on a construction site, you could have 15 to 20 people at any given time, kind of working safely and smoothly in that environment. Now we've had to scale back to 1 to 5 and like one crew. So instead of having your HVAC, electrical, and plumber on site at one time and all their crews on site, you may have one crew, 3 to 4 guys, and that's it. Then they have to come out the house, and we have to bring in another crew. So it's been challenging, but we've been adjusting. So that's definitely been a change for us. As for some of the commercial sites and industrial sites of large scale, those have been shut down and scaled back as well too. And it's also a decision based on the business. Some businesses have chosen to shut down or to scale back as needed. So it's kind of a juggling act to kind of stay with the mandate, but also keep your business productive and profitable, and make sure your clients, which again, are the most important, are safe and get an end product that doesn't devaluate just because of our situation. So that's kind of, that's how I kind of quantitate that answer there. I don't know if Odeen has anything to add to that.
Yeah, in terms of, again, the brokerage and the real estate side, our company, and I think Toronto real estate brokerages at large for the past several years have been equipped with a lot of resources that put us in very good position for selling in today's situation, because we've been using virtual services for quite a long time. So virtual tours, now they're moving towards virtual open houses. It's just sort of shifting, be it temporarily, the way that people who need to buy homes and need to sell homes during this time are operating. So that, and this technology allows our company and others to still sell effectively. Like, even though I'm advising if my sellers are not in a rush not to sell right now, some of our sellers have no choice because they perhaps purchased a pre-construction property or another property that is still set to close in the summer. So we have to sell, and thankfully we've been doing so with great success and with great efficiency. As you guys have probably heard, the real estate market prior to this was almost ridiculously hot. So we were primed to be in a position where it's like maybe even exceeding the numbers of 2017, right? So prior to the social distancing mandates, we were up 46% from last year at the same time. And then once the mandates were brought on by Doug Ford, there was definitely a slowdown. But it's almost like it's almost like somebody just poured water on that fire, right? So instead of it being ridiculously fiery, it was still very hot in March, even after all of these social distancing rules were implemented. But instead of 20 or 30 offers for a hot property, it would be like 5 offers, which is really still, that really still shows that it's a very sort of good market. Since then, now in April, I am definitely seeing a slowdown. But again, it's nothing where anything is selling for like 50% less or anything like that. Absolutely not. It's just the inventory is lower from last year this time. And so the amount of transactions are obviously lower because people are at home. So I've been saying that the market's certainly not frozen right now, but it's just slower.
So at this point, I would like to open the floor up to anyone who has questions.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hi, is that Akua?
Yes, it is.
Isn't it your birthday today?
Yesterday.
Happy belated birthday!
Thank you, thank you. I was curious to hear a little bit more about the market, the state of the market for buyers or investors. Like, what does that look like if people were hoping in this upcoming year to invest in property or buy new property? Is there any direction on that stuff yet?
Yeah, so listen, usually the spring market is when it's hardest to buy a property. In Ontario in general, buying is a lot more difficult than selling, which is why ordinarily when people ask us, when our clients are asking for direction on whether they should buy or sell first, we typically say that you should probably buy and then sell. Of course, there's risks to doing it both ways, right? But right now in this current situation, a lot of the inventory, Akua, they're keeping, like a lot of sellers, they're just deciding, you know what, I'm not gonna sell now. But that said, there will be outliers. There will be people that are led by fear, right? There are people and sellers that might be just ready to sell and needing to sell. Not yet. If this continues, if this lockdown continues a few more weeks or a few more months, things will change. But Akua, right now, things are just, they're quite stable. But if there was ever a time to buy in spring, it could potentially be now if you're an investor really looking for a deal. I don't think necessarily that's going to mean that you're going to get anything like 30% off or anything like that. But instead of competing, as I said, against dozens of people sometimes, which is usually the case in spring, maybe now you won't have to get into a multiple offer situation. So that alone should warrant you getting like a pretty good deal, but I don't think that you're gonna be getting deals where you're buying like much less than market value yet.
Thank you, good to know.
Okay, does any other caller have a question? No?
Hey, yes, I
Okay,
do.
So,
Can you hear me?
okay, go for it.
So my name's Alex. I'm a young guy I'm in Durham region, and I've been doing construction for about 3 years now. I've flipped a bunch of homes when I first started, and recently got into rental properties. But I've seen what you guys are doing and would love to get a lot and, you know, build a home and sell it. And I'm just wondering, I've got an investor now, and I'm wondering what next steps would you recommend for me in a market like this, and, you know, to get started to find the lot and then start building.
Lamont, you want to take that one?
Sure, Alex, thank you for the question. And I just want to commend you and congratulate you on being in the real estate market and having that kind of foresight to get in. It's not an easy game, and it's very impressive to see anybody in the industry, especially young guys like yourself. So good on you for that. Great question. So again, it's kind of like our start, Alex, that we did. We started flipping homes, right? In the climate we started flipping homes, it was said to us that don't get into the market, don't do it, no, 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 no. Odeen and myself, we didn't listen to the onslaught, and we had confidence in our abilities, and we still went ahead. But the most important thing that we did is we were prepared. We did all of our research, we did all of our back end, we were prepared. So we understood if, you know, things don't go right, if you do your construction budget and maybe it's 10, 15, 20% over, or in the next year when your project is done, or 6 months, is the market going to take a dip of 10, 15, 20%? Are you still okay to sell and at a profit, or are you going to be able to hold on to the project without having to dump it on the market for a loss? So that is very important. The one thing now is we buy land and property a fair bit, and we also build for other people. So right now, we're very stringent on any buying of any land right now. And the only reason is not because we aren't, like, we don't want to jump on a great deal. It's just there's a lot of moving parts currently. And I think, like, to do a purchase right now, we may consider waiting till the dust is settled. Now,
Okay.
There's a couple outliers to that. If you are buying for your forever home or your dream home, it almost doesn't matter the climate of where you are, because once you find that right lot or that right home, go for it. You may not get it again. And if you're keeping it, it doesn't make a huge difference, and Odeen can touch on this, of your value fluctuating because you're not gonna sell it. But you as an investor, I would just do the most amount of research you can. I think your most important part when you are buying and selling and flipping is your construction cost and also your end value. And then it's easy, you just go for the middle margin. So construction cost, land purchase, and end value. That is the most important thing. And when you do all your numbers, right? I guess, have you built a house before?
So I haven't built. I've gutted them and done so pretty much everything but a foundation and then framing the outside of it.
Okay, you're close.
So I'm close.
You're close. We'd be happy to give you a little bit of guidance just to kind of get you there. So feel free to reach out to us on a DM or a phone call or email, and give you a little guidance just so you are in the right ballpark. But just take your numbers, add 15 to 20% to your construction cost, right?
Okay.
Add a 10 to 15% dip on what you think your end value is going to be, right?
Okay.
And then hope that you are still at least a break-even point, and you can either sell at a break-even or hold on till the market gets better.
Right.
We use that kind of rule of thumb for all of our builds, buys, investments, and we've been pretty lucky with kind of going through without losing significant value on really any project we've kind of gone into, despite maybe a couple. But we've done at this point like in the hundreds, so it's a pretty good it's a pretty good formula for you.
Cool. Okay.
And
Yeah,
Alex,
that's awesome.
Alex,
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll just quickly add to that to emphasize what Lamont said. One of the keys is being able to ensure that you'll be able to hold if the unlikely event of a pandemic or some sort of market disruption occurs right after you put all this money into your project. So always when you're doing the numbers, as Lamont said, be able to, you're going to be, the strong people and the most successful are the people who don't have to rely on dumping it at any cost. Right. And the people that are able, that have factored in the time and the cost of having to hold. And that means, when I say hold, sometimes we've held onto properties and gotten tenants in. We've gotten tenants in for years before we decided to liquidate on that asset. But we wouldn't have been able to if we didn't do the math prior correctly.
Okay. And what about finding lots? So when I look on MLS, it's I don't see many. Are you guys finding projects that you tear the house down, or how are you finding your sites that you pick to do a build on?
Well, we have a lot of sort of insider information and stuff. A lot of the lots that we get like sort of privately. They're not on MLS because we're members of many associations and groups, investment groups, where they shop them around to the developers that are within the groups. But there are deals to be found on MLS, whether they be dilapidated bungalows or vacant land. But it's just, you really got to be focused because the good ones go fast.
Right.
And so you got to just sort of really be dedicated and get ahead of the game.
Okay. And if you guys you built many houses, so I'm sure that helps you with pricing. Yeah, so I was going to go into, how do you tell on what the house is going to cost you? Are you doing it on a per square foot? But again, I guess it's because you've done so many now at this point, you can figure out, we're going to build this and it will cost. You got it, Alex. You're going to learn so much after you do your first couple, because you learn a lot through trial and error. And I think in the first few that we did, we almost always underestimated costs. So then again, you sort of just learn through trial and error. And then we now have like a set square foot price based on different levels of finishing. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for the question.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alex, for that question. Any other questions?
Yeah, I have a quick question.
Hi, Josh.
How are you?
I'm great. Good to see you.
You as well. Hi, Lamont.
Josh, how you doing?
Good. Good. How are you? So my question is, I've heard a lot of noise throughout I'd say the last year, that flipping in Ontario isn't as profitable as it would have been 5 years ago, just because due to the high value of the market now. And I just wanted to if I were to start investing, because I'm still pretty young, I'm kind of start looking at that eventually, would it be better to go out of the city, like Bradford even, or I don't know, Barrie, or would you recommend staying closer to the city?
So quickly, before Odeen jumps in, because I know you'll have something to say on this one. So Josh, what we found actually is, it's true. It's a little bit true. The flipping market, I would say, has got a lot more competitive. Even for us, once we started back almost 8-7 years ago in the market, we actually got priced out of the market where we were losing to bidding wars. We were getting bidded out of the flipping market. And that's actually what pushed us into the new build side, because as even Alex was asking, it's a little different and a little bit more moving parts and a lot more capital intensive to build a home. So we felt there was a bit of an opportunity to jump into that market. So the flipping market in Ontario and even in Canada has got more competitive. It doesn't mean you can't make money at it. It just takes a little bit more adjusting, structuring, making sure your numbers are tighter. The days of just buying something, throwing some paint and almost putting pig on a lipstick, I think are basically done. Buyers are relatively shrewd. They're educated. They're going to see what you bought it for. They're going to look at when, and they're going to hold you to that. So I find that the flipping market definitely is a challenge, but it's something where your real estate agent in the flipping market, I think, is everything. If you have a decent construction budget, if you got a really good agent, really good insight, and you can kind of conquer that part, I believe you can still make a buck in the flipping market. Your margin that was maybe 7 years ago might not be today's margin, but there still will be a margin in it. I don't know, Odeen, if you want to jump on anything.
Yeah, it's I'm a firm believer in the saying that you make your money on the buy. You make your money when you're purchasing, right? So that means that your purchase price is the main factor that determines your profit later on when you're selling. So that's why when we began, we didn't necessarily begin right in the heart of Toronto. We started in Durham. So now the prices that you're referring to in, say, the outskirts even more, Barrie and Bradford, that is, I think, like a smart idea to begin with.
Yes.
Because you gotta go where you can get somewhat of a deal. And the fact is, as the GTA becomes less and less affordable, you're gonna see that urban sprawl continue to go even further out. And so it's almost inevitable that the pricing starts to continue to increase in those areas as well, as they have been doing for the past decade.
Yeah, correct. Yep.
So key of that is, or just in summary of that is, yes, and remember, everybody, you make money on the buy. Correct. Almost as much as you make money on the sell. So do not just jump in to jump in. If it's not a deal, don't be emotionally invested. You gotta just move on, and just keep trying until you're able to obtain that surefire deal.
All right. Thank you, Josh, and thank you for those answers. Thank you for your question, Josh. I apologize. So up to now, we've been looking at things from the standpoint of being an investor or an owner from your side. So one of the questions that just came through from S, that's the only name I have for this this listener on the call right now. S wants to know if, well, she's saying that there are talks right now about a recession. For the people who have a stable income right now and were planning to purchase a home, whether now or within a year or two, would it be smart to wait and see if the market will drop significantly, or just continue to wait to see what happens?
So again, this is more Odeen's question. I just want to jump in here for a quick sec. Thank you for the question. I do feel we're kind of hovering, either we're in the recession now or we're going to go into it as this thing prolongs. The one thing I don't think nobody can tell you, even us, is we don't know the absolute surefire best time to buy. There are deals right now today, but we don't know if we are at the bottom, we're in the worst of it, or once we come out of this thing in a month, 2 months, 3 or 4 months, it's going to be worse or better. Like, the fog is still too thick to give a for sure answer. So I think on buying today, it has to go with your situation. If you're an investor, I would consider doing all your due diligence, all your research, and you're taking a chance. You could be winning, or it could be, again, you gotta be careful. But if you're an end user, if you're a buyer, if you're looking for your forever home, your dream home, or a starter home, and you know you're gonna be in there for 2 to 3 to 4 or 5 years, I would consider still going out and buying and at least looking at the market. And if you do see that right home, the one that fits your budget, the one that fits kind of your area, school district, all the other things, I would still go ahead and buy, because we don't know if in 2 months the market is going to skyrocket because all the buyers are waiting on the sideline, because it was a very, 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 as Odeen said, hot market right before COVID started and before all the constraints happened. So there are a lot of buyers that are still sitting on the sideline. We don't know right when the right time will be, but if you are looking for your forever home, I would suggest just still look, and if you find the right one, go for it. If not, then just wait and see. But you could be waiting and seeing, and the market could go up, and you could have missed a deal in the meantime.
Okay, and I'll continue from there. Thank you for that, Lamont. So, first of all, I'll just start with when I think of recession in terms of real estate, right away my mind goes to 2008, and that is actually I think I got my license in 2007. So it was right as I got into this business. The United States primarily went into an economic recession. So again, the definition of a recession is when in 2 quarters, the economy continues to go down. So right now, this hasn't even been 1 quarter of a downturn, right? So it would have to be essentially 6 months of this progressively downward sort of spiral. Do I think that would happen, especially for real estate? You never know, but the thing that was different in that economic recession of 2008 is that was particularly real estate related. That was because the lenders were over leveraging their clients, right? So that was specifically having to do with real estate. Here, with the COVID-19 pandemic, it's a health crisis. Do I think that will necessarily translate into a particular housing crisis? I think, as I said, a hot market, this has thrown some water on it, so it's cooling it, but I strongly do not believe that it will head towards like a textbook recession. That being said, you never know, things could continue to get worse, right? But I have a feeling that once everybody is back to work, that real estate will actually go, it could go up.
Yeah.
So I think if you're prepared to right now, and then within the next coming weeks, as we've been ordered, I think yesterday, to stay home for another 30 days, take a look on MLS, give us a call, give your realtor a call, and see if there are any deals to be had right now. Again, nothing to rush into and grab, but I think that maybe it could get a little bit worse before it gets better, but I think by the time this is all over, that we're still gonna have a strong GTA real estate market.
Correct. And remember, it's never a wrong time to buy the right home. Never a wrong time to buy the right home. So I noticed you said it could be your forever home. It's something that I would continue to search. And like Odeen said, don't rush and jump on anything. But if the right home does come up, consider buying it.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, and thanks again for that. We have another question that just came in. Can individuals get financing easily now, especially if they've been laid off?
You want to go with that one?
No, you go.
Okay, so right now we have unprecedentedly low interest rates, and that has not really made like any kind of dent in the trading right now and the transactions that are going through. So I remember how excited that a lot of our colleagues and I were when we saw that the interest rates continue to decrease, but then we actually started to get concerned, because oftentimes the government does that when they are trying to salvage the economy, right? And it hasn't helped. The market per se, because people are not taking advantage of these low interest rates because they're staying home, as essentially, as people really should be doing. But if you have job uncertainty right now, banks are certainly not going to be lending you money to buy homes, even though they're the banks are in a situation where they want to give out loans. They're also going to be very cautious and scrutinize. Very much so. I know that the stress tests, many of the rules there are sort of lightening a little bit, actually, right, Lamont, as of actually last week. But it doesn't mean that they're going to be a heck of a lot more lenient to give out mortgages. If anything, perhaps you'll be under more scrutiny now than before. But the good news is that if you do get qualified, you're gonna be able to take advantage of absolutely incredible rates. I'm not a mortgage broker, but we work with many great ones, and yeah, just on a surface level, that's my opinion.
Okay. Next question here is, what are 3 overall business tips you can give to any Black-owned business at this time? And if you can say what you're doing to stay motivated.
Okay, I'll start with this one. You know what? Just business in general. It's a tough. It's going to be tough, and it's going to be tough a lot. So I find the stigma as business owners is it's the best job in the world. It's easy. Your friends think you have all this free time, and you make all this money. In retrospect, being a business owner, especially starting a business, is you work very long hours. You don't see your family as much. You get paid less than probably what your peers are getting paid for. And there's also the factor of having your risk involved. So I just want to say it's not easy being a business owner. So with saying all that, some things just to keep motivated is, what motivates us at least is the freedom, okay? So I find we may work 5, 6, 7 days a week, normally 70, 80, 90, 100, 120 hours easily in a week, but it's the freedom of knowing that what you're putting in is going to eventually pay off with time or financial gain, either or, right? And that's very important. Another part is what I always say is, if you are starting a business, try to start something that you like, or you plan on something that you have passion for. Because if you don't have passion or you don't love it, it's going to be hard to do it every day. Because as I said, you're going to be underpaid, you're going to be overworked until you get that business up and going. So try to find something you love. And in a climate, anybody who has started maybe a business in the last year, 6 months, 3 months, last month, where they feel like the world's caving in on them, it is not. Do not give up. Do not give up. There is light at the end of the tunnel. If you can make it through this turbulence, you will make it through any given issue, problem, recession, depression, anything. If you get through this, and I'll tell you this, if you get through this, it will give you the mental strength to get through anything, regardless of what it is. So I just say, hold on tight. Nothing great is easy, and just keep pushing. Even when you want to throw in the towel, or it feels like it's all over, look, scrape, scrap, do everything you can to keep whatever you got going, if it is a passion and a dream of yours. So that's my motivational tips. Odeen, what do you got?
Well, I'll just say, as a business owner, and just during this entire crisis, Lamont and I have not had one day off. So that is it's a blessing, but it's also like, it's because we're sort of, as the business owner, you have to be the guiding, navigating the ship, right? Because people are depending on you. Your employees and your team members are all depending on you for encouragement. So you definitely have to ensure that you keep your energy up. And also, something that I've always thought, one of my favorite quotes is that, remember, with every negative event contains within it a seed of equal or greater benefit. And that's, I think, a quote from Napoleon Hill. And times like this, it's not something that you have to think of as theory, you have to know as fact. And so when you kind of have that in your mind and in your subconscious mind, knowing that with everything negative can come a positive, it helps you to just keep on track and to keep motivated. So I would just say to all business owners that, you know what, a lot of business owners have a lot of extra time on their hands right now, and some of the time, of course, should be spent in keeping silent and in sort of just taking care of your mental health. But if this is also an opportunity to brainstorm and envision your future, a better future for your business, for your family, and for yourself.
So you're saying basically that in terms of the motivation for you, Odeen, because you know you have others who are depending on you for strength and the will to persist in whatever they're doing. You're saying that that is your motivator, being
That
able
is,
to motivate everybody else?
that's absolutely one of them. Because if our staff sees us crumble, then they're going to start to crumble, and they're going to be nervous and perhaps not wanting to be productive. So instead, it just makes sense that we cultivate as much information we can about what this crisis is, but then also be as solution oriented as possible and just sort of flow with the waters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But,
yeah. No, Odeen, that's excellent. I love what both you and Lamont had to say, especially when you talked about this is a great time to plan. One of the things we're going to be doing at the BBPA next is our campaign called #GetReady, because I think this is a great opportunity for us to really think about what a post-recovery strategy could look like, and very, very important. So I do have a question for you both around that, but before I state that, I see that Charles Wilshire is on the line as well. That's your dad, Lamont, and I think it's great. You know, when we look at Black business success, I think it's always great to have, you know, we talk about generational wealth and what generational stability is like, and so it's great to see that, you know, your dad is here supporting. So Charles, I'm going to put
Yes.
you on the spot. You know, here it is, your son. You must be so proud right now about, you know, this partnership that he has. And, you know, I listened to both him and Odeen speak, and I think, wow, I'm so proud. How do you feel?
You know, I've watched those two work for quite a few years. I think they're amazing. I'm listening to what he has to say, and I think he's doing an amazing job. I think right now, it's buyer's time. I've gone through recession 1980. I've gone through recession 1990. When it bounces back, buyers are going to have a tough time finding places. And the smart buyers right now are going to aggressively, if they can afford to get into something, they are going to buy. Because the same amount of people who has not bought this month, last month, next month, they're all going to be out there, and the inventory is not going to be there. So I think it's a perfect buyer's market. I'm listening, and Lamont, Odeen, you guys are doing a great job, but encourage people to buy.
We just want to buy. We encourage to buy with caution, but like Dad, like as you said, you are the ultimate renegade risk taker. That's where I learned to take risks. So really, some of the stuff that I'm saying is for your buyer who just to be cautious. But as you said, I will second that. There is always a deal to be had, and you know, if you're aggressive, you know, and you have confidence in what you're doing, you can't really go wrong. But it's not for everybody. But I absolutely agree with what you're saying. So thank you for that, and I appreciate that. Thanks.
Okay.
Yeah, and so to you both, you know, again, what would be maybe two the best things you would encourage our Black business community to do in terms of being ready for a post-COVID series of success, and maybe in real estate as well, but also just overall in terms of business?
Well, Nadine, you kind of touched on it. Like, if you have the time and you're in a business that either you haven't started, or you're just starting, the best thing is planning. Like, when you plan and you are prepared, you know, you go to battle with, you know, you're a full arsenal of a toolkit. So imagine I'm going to work. I'll use a construction analogy. So imagine going to work and you don't know what job you're going into, but you know what? You're going to bring a hammer and maybe a couple nails, okay? Because you just didn't have the time to, you know, fill up your tool chest or war chest to kind of go to battle. Like, you know, if you have the time and you have the knowledge, and maybe it'll take you a little longer, why don't you fill up that toolbox with all the tools in your arsenal, be over-prepared, well-prepared to go into that project and do that job. If again, in that toolbox, in that toolkit, you want to have your drill, your measuring tape, you want to have your pencil, your laser, you want to have as much stuff to arm yourself when you're ready, almost for battle. So as business owners, plan, research, do your business plan, look it over, do your projections, look it over again, do it again and again and again, and also reach out to anybody who maybe in the field, maybe anybody with a business knowledge, or, you know, bounce it off and run it by anybody that may give you sound and solid advice. You know, you don't have to take advice from everybody and always take it with a grain of salt, but it's something that I would do. So I definitely just take the time to be prepared is one. The second thing, just coming out of kind of the pandemic, and whenever we do come out, because I think even when we come out of the rough part, it's still going to be an adjustment. I don't think we'll ever see normalcy again, right? I think we've changed, our lives are going to be changed for the foreseeable future and maybe forever. So just as we go, just understand how COVID may adjust and change your business, and make sure when you do this new world that you're coming out to. It's very important. So, and that comes to preparation. So yeah, and the last point I'll say is just coming out of this whole thing is there's going to be a lot, unfortunately, of course, there's going to be a lot less businesses that started before COVID that will be around after COVID. So, you know, take it as an opportunity to, your field's going to be smaller. There will be less competition. So when you get there, be aggressive, get out there and push, because after post-COVID, I think there's going to be the start of, again, a new rush of just building, growing, having an opportunity, maybe a way to position yourself in that market you're in as a business owner. So, yeah.
If I may piggyback off of that, the question and the answer, as you talk about, well, what you just said in terms of being able to have a fresh start, especially for the people who are just now starting a business. So let's say after COVID, someone just started a business, like let's say last week, for instance. What kind of mindset do you think someone would have to possess, especially knowing that one, online business has increased over 44% over the past 3 weeks, and also knowing the fact that many established companies have moved or were able to move their business online? What kind of mindset do you think someone who's just now starting off with a new business would have to have?
Yeah, so this is very important. As I said, just coming out of COVID, we have to adjust to our new world. And our new world, which is online, everything's been changing more to online, but there's so much businesses that have to move to online sales or communication. Like even now, we are having a very productive Zoom chat. We did not do this over the last 3-4 years. I can count how many times I did a Zoom chat. You know, we used to go out our way. Yeah, let's go meet at a restaurant. Let's meet at the office. But guess what? The hour drive to the restaurant, the 2 hours of sitting down, or maybe the meal that's expense. Yes, it's great to share a drink, but you know what? You can probably achieve that in what we're doing. So that's just a small example how we've even seen things change, which I just got back my hour. I'm more productive. We got straight to the point. There is something to be said of having like a face-to-face always to do a deal. But you know what? Things are changing, and I think a lot of things can be done online. It can be done through Zoom, and just businesses in general. Yeah, you are going to have some type of online presence, and I can't think of one business that is not going to have to step up their online presence game. Even the real estate industry, we're talking about virtual open houses and virtual staging and virtual this and virtual that. So it's absolutely imperative to, in whatever business you have, make sure you're ready to have your online presence strong in whatever it is.
Odeen, do you have any follow-up comments to that?
Yeah, you mentioned, Gavin, about mindset. And again, not to sound redundant, but I think any business owner, and really a lot of just people who strive for success, I think that keeping your mind on the things that you want and on the goals that you want your business to achieve, and off of the things that you don't want. Also cultivating inner confidence. Confidence is extremely important in success and in any business. and also in just learning to perpetually turn negatives into positives, like as much as you can. So as you said, in this landscape now that we found ourselves in, well, we were in the process of looking, our company, We Realty, was in the process of looking for a brick and mortar office. Well, you know what? Now that might change. We might defer that brick and mortar office for a while. And that's just one example of how you just have to like restructure according to this change that is taking place and any other changes that will come your way, and any other sort of impediments that will come your way as a business owner. You gotta you don't have time to feel sorry for yourself. You gotta just, okay, what is the solution? And stay focused on that and keep it moving.
So what I just heard you say basically is adaptability, creativity, and aggressiveness.
Absolutely. That sums it up.
We have time for one more question, and this question is from Michael Lambie. Michael, go ahead, please.
Hi guys, nice to see you, and thank you for all the fantastic information you've been providing. The question I had was going back to kind of your business decisions when it comes to strategies and investments with some of your properties when it comes to renovating. I think it's relevant for an investor as well as an owner. It's how do you make a determination on how much to put in a renovation for that particular property? What's too much? What's enough? So is there a formula that you guys can have? So you have this property, whether it's for a client yourself, and I want to do X, put an addition, whatever the case is. What's your limit? How do you determine what's that limit is?
That is such an important question, Michael. And you know what? One of the primary answers is comparables in the neighborhood. It's just so important. Before we embark on any of our projects, we research the heck out of every comparable that has sold, that has perhaps even just been built in the neighborhood. And we try our best. It doesn't always, sometimes there are outliers, but to not exceed or overbuild for a particular community, because location, as you know, in real estate is paramount. So depending on the location of the property and we do extensive research on what that location and neighborhood can yield, that determines the style of the home that we often build, as well as, like, you know, sometimes it might fit in to be like mid-century modern or ultra luxe or just sort of more simple transitional style. And that is really determinant on the neighborhood and the market comparables.
Yeah, and if I can just add to that, Odeen, you're absolutely right. It's all in the comparables in the market and what's going on around you. But one thing from a construction side that you can never do, and we've also been a victim of this, is don't overbuild your project, whether it's a renovation or build. It's hard not to get emotionally attached. If you're a real estate lover and you know, this is something you love to do, it's hard to separate the business aspect from the love of what you're doing. So I would say separate it as best as you can, but don't overbuild the project. Now, there is a fine line of not overbuilding and underbuilding. Like, you have to get that sweet spot. And that also does come, like when we started doing it, Odeen was that kind of buffer where, you know, if, you know, she would rein in the construction crew if we started to go crazy on overbuilding the home, and just do enough where we had all the right upgrades, all the right stuff, but we didn't overbuild it so we can maximize margins and profits. So it was very important to have that, the real estate market side really in sync and in line with the construction, design, and build side. So very important to have those two to maximize your profit. There is no perfect formula, but that is like the best structure to try to go off of. And then it will come down to a little bit of like feeling, your gut, and just your general all kind of the touch and feel like taste. So.
And Michael, when we're doing this market research, we go back as much as 5 years. It doesn't have to only be like within the last 6 months, because it's not like, it's not determinant upon selling right away, but we want to see that within that neighborhood, there are homes with finishings of a certain caliber before we go overboard.
So you would suggest that even if someone is living in the house, the same suggestion.
Absolutely.
I'm going to stay in this house for 5-10 years. Same
You got
suggestion.
it. And that's important when you're servicing your clients as well, because just like how this COVID-19 situation suddenly happened, you never know when somebody could get suddenly hit with a job loss or anything like that. And so that asset, if they need to put it on the market to sell to finance their life, we don't want them to be over leveraged or in a bad situation.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Michael.
Okay, thank you so much for everyone who called in. We do appreciate Odeen and Lamont for the knowledge that you shared today. Outstanding. If I may ask, do you have any closing remarks? Anything else you want to share?
Just an expression. You want to go, Lamont?
Yeah, because I know yours will be better than mine, so we'll leave the best one for last. No, we appreciate the platform. Just real estate in general. It's fun, it's great. I find you can get into it from so many aspects. A lot of time, it's your largest investment. It's so you don't have to be a developer, a builder, a real estate agent to be in real estate. You can be an end user, you can be a buyer, you can rent out your base. There's so much ways to be involved. It does not have to be your main thing. It can be your side thing. A lot of people's wealth and great wealth is from the real estate assets and holdings and stuff. So I just want to say to everybody who's on the call is get into real estate. It doesn't have to be from a huge level. Start small and get in there, get your bearing straight. And it's something that you probably will end up loving and continuing and being able to pass it down for generations to come. So I just want to say thank you to the BBPA. Thank you to Dean Gavin for orchestrating this talk here and having us with this platform. We appreciate it. And good luck to everybody through COVID-19.
Okay.
Lamont, sorry to cut you off. It looks as if Michael has another question.
Yeah, of course.
Michael? No? Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead, please, Odeen.
Okay, yeah. I was just going to give one last little tidbit of advice to everybody in the chat. If sometimes getting into real estate seems daunting, this is something that I've been telling all of my friends and family for many years, and thankfully that's helped them to get into the market. Never be afraid, and even in this COVID-19 times, to collaborate, to remember there's strength in numbers. If you yourself cannot jump in and buy your first condo, don't be too intimidated. Get your sister, your brother, a group of 3, your closest friends, get together to be able to invest. So that's one way, and that I always advise, and especially during this time where you might be, as Charlie said, able to grab a deal. If you can't do it alone, get some trusted friends and try to jump in together. And then also, I just wanted to express gratitude to the BBPA for putting something like this together for real estate and for all of the other professions in this series, because this is an excellent resource for our community. And we're just thankful for your continued support.
Great, Odeen. And just before we wrap up, I want to thank you and Lamont so much. And I'd also like everybody on the call to know that Odeen and Lamont are Harry Jerome Award winners, and we can clearly see why. And this is the example that we want to hold as a beacon of what professionalism and excellence looks like in our community. There is someone, Kelly Ross, wanted to say, she said, I have no question, just a sponge love and appreciative for the information that both Lamont and Odeen is providing. And I share that sentiment as well. On behalf of the board of directors and the BBPA, we thank you for just being a great example. So thank you for your time. We're looking forward to a lot more collaboration. And as people have additional questions, they can send them in to us. There was one question that's not answered, but I will forward that to you privately as well for you to respond to. So thanks again. And Charlie, really great to see you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.
And that wraps it up. Another great call. And once again, I can't express this enough. Thank you all for calling in, posing your questions, participating.
Shout out to Kelsey Ross.
We do appreciate your involvement, every one of you. And may I encourage you, so this series of Ask a Professional is going to continue on until the very end of April. Every day from 12 noon to 1, we're going to have different speakers, different topics. Please go onto the BBPA website, click on the what am I saying? Brain freeze. Go on the programs, click on programs, and you will see everyone who's going to be speaking, the days and times, and what the topic is. And I encourage every one of you, you will always get something out of every single call. Thanks in advance. If you need any other information, please visit our Facebook and Instagram pages. We're also on LinkedIn. Please feel free, jump in, ask any question you need, reach out to me. My name is Gavin Skerritt. And lastly, Nadine, our president, thank you so much for putting something like this together. I think that the community will thank you over the long term.
Absolutely.
Okay. You guys have a great day.
You too.
Yeah, great. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you for moderating, Gavin.
Yeah, take care, guys. Yeah.
Thank you for having me. Take care, guys.
Bye.
Tell Nadine I said hi, Lamont.
Yeah.
We can hear you.
Charlie. Yes, I can hear you. And when I
didn't
come
know
to you, when this is all over, I want some big fried fish and steamed
I didn't know,
fish.
Nadine, I didn't know I was talking to, I didn't know that was you sounding so nice and young.
Right?
My God. Huh? That is great. I'm shocked. You know, whenever you want to come down, you're more than welcome.
Sounds great. No, I'm looking forward to it. I'm
Hey.
working on a build in Jamaica. We'll have, maybe that'll be another conversation, how to build out of country.
Yes.
And
That would
so,
be-
yeah,
that'd be amazing,
I
yeah.
mean, you guys would definitely have to do it. So that's
That
something we
was-
have to talk about.
We're specialized in that down here. We can help you with that, no problem at all.
Nice, nice. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Man,
Yeah, really-
I didn't know you could hear me. Beautiful.
Yes, I can. I can hear you and see you, as is everyone else. Donna, are you listening? So our governance director, Donna Walwin, is on, and we still. You know what I find with these calls? Even when the calls are over, people linger. Like the last call we had with one of the ministers, the call ended, and we were on for an hour after. And people just want to see, like, connect with other people because of the social distancing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a great resource. This is such a good idea.
I am so glad for the invite, and I'm even so glad to hear from you.
Yeah,
it's been a great series, and this has been great. And thank you, Nadine and Gavin, for moderating these. It's great.
Thanks,
You guys have done an amazing
Thank you.
job.
Thank you. Thank you. So Odeen, here's my big question. I know, and it's going to seem frivolous in spite of all of this high level conversation, is how in the midst of this pandemic, do you manage to keep your nails?
No, you know what? Nadine, I just got lucky that the last time I did my nails, it was French tip. So the French tip, it doesn't show as bad, but it is bad up close.
Nadine, I'm glad you asked because I wanted to, but I kind of thought I was being right by accident.
No, French tip just gives that illusion.
Of course, no, it's the best. It's a safe one. You can have it for a while. Oh my goodness.
Hey, Nadine.
Yeah.
Nadine, can you call me when you get a chance? I want to get in touch with your brother.
I will absolutely. You know, Tony's down there. You know, he's in.
Yes,
he's in Westmoreland.
I would love to see him.
Absolutely, yeah. Okay, I'll offline. I'll call you and give you his info. All right.
All right, no problem.
Yeah, man. Really good to see you.
All right, take care. See you later.
Yeah, Lamont and Odeen, thanks again, guys. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Take care, guys. Have a good day.
Bye, you too.
Yeah.